Welcome back to the AI for e-commerce track. Our next session is optimizing search, discovery, and personalization with AI. My name again is Doug Weish. I'm with the Retail AI Council, and I'm thrilled to introduce our next four speakers. Peter Buckley, CRO of Taggstar, will be talking about the PDP is the new homepage. John Murdock, CEO of Fastr, will be talking about the optimization path to purchase with AI. Simon Langevin, VP of Product at Coveo, will talk about the search box is evolving, are you ready? And Chase Edwards, VP of Sales at AB Tasty, will be talking about next level user experience, how to use AI to delight customers. Please welcome our speakers.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Peter Buckley. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for Taggstar, one of the world's leading providers in real-time messaging. And I'm here today to talk to you about the PDP being the new homepage. So what does that mean? Well, it is literally the new digital front door. I think the data is in a survey with a partner of ours of over 6,000 websites and 80 billion different sessions shows that 36% of e-commerce traffic now comes straight into the PDP. Customers no longer come to your homepage, no longer come to PLPs or category pages. They are overwhelmingly coming straight to your PDP to find content and products that they are after. Alongside this, paid search is equivalent to 39% of all traffic. So not only are more people coming into the PDP, we're paying more as retailers for that traffic. And of course, we overwhelmingly know traffic that comes from paid sources is typically less quality traffic. They're not that organic, loyal customer that's coming because they know you, they have your apps, they have your sites, they're coming because they've searched it on Google. And this presents an interesting dichotomy. You have an enormous amount of customers on their phones with every retail site accessible in a moment. They are spending less time on that site. They are 40% more likely to bounce today. 40% of sessions don't even reach down to rich product content, product descriptions, or reviews. Session depths are far shorter than what they need to be. And the flip side of that dichotomy is people want even more information now to make a decision. There's so much choice from Google. It's so quick to leave and go to a competitor. How do we solve this? How do we square this? They have less time, but they want more information. Well, we need to provide them in that instant a user experience that's exciting, engaging, and provides them the content and reassurance they need to make a decision, whether that's badging, providing content, or helping them with social proof. Here's a use case with Hugo Boss, doing this very well. I Google search an organic backpack. It takes up a lot of space. I click on it, I land on that PDP, and I'm immediately served content that tells me the backpack I'm looking at is We Care, they're branded organic products. I'm told that the information is popular, the product I'm looking at is well researched, people buy it, and in a very, very happy path, I go and I check out. In a less happy path, why don't we take that message that you see, We Care, make it clickable, make them go and click and discover even more products that suit the criteria of what they've just searched for, what they're looking for, and keep them on that website. Paid traffic now from social media is 19% more expensive than it was a year ago. So if we can't get them to check out, how do we just keep them in the site, in our ecosystems, in our brand to discover and find more? Some other best practices of what we're doing with customers. How do we provide integrated experiences? Back to school, we spend so much time on content, top of the funnel. Let's highlight products as I click through that these are the best sellers for back to school, that they are the best picks, that we're providing that information for customers to make very quick and sharp decisions. It's not just about products. We spend a lot of time in apps, loyalty programs, CRM. Here's a great example. Unlimited delivery from Uncommon Goods. Let's highlight that everybody buys unlimited delivery. Let's keep that customer lifecycle value. Let's keep them in our ecosystems. Let's keep them engaged so we are capturing that traffic and converting them through the funnel. And finally, it's not just our e-commerce sites, it's also all digital channels. So here on email, how do we email people, retarget them, and provide them that content and context of how popular and exciting those products are? And that was me. I'm from Taggstar, Peter Buckley, and we're at checkout desk 399. Come and see us. Thank you.
Hello, I'm John Murdock. I'm the CEO of Fastr. We're a digital experience workspace. We work with over 200 brands and retailers across a variety of industries, and we help their marketers and their merchandisers take control of their sites and build high-converting experiences. And today I'm here to talk about AI and its impact on the path to purchase. Specifically around some of the customers that we're working with. Starting with the traditional funnel, let's face it, it's dead. Yet so many brands and retailers continue to send traffic across their sites to landing pages, to home pages, browsing, searching, filtering, sorting, eventually trying to drive people to a PDP where hopefully they'll add you to cart and hopefully you can get an upsell and eventually a purchase decision made. This is not a great experience. This isn't what customers and visitors to your sites are looking for. Smart enterprises today are beginning to embrace intelligent flows. And so that's combining what you know about that visitor before they join your site, what you gather in session, personalizing that content deeply to each visitor on your site, creating a really dynamic and rich experience for your visitors, all the while creating kind of a smooth experience all the way through your site to eventually your CTA, whether it be buy, schedule, or purchase online. In the background, AI is helping to really optimize and analyze and self-optimize all of your sites and your experience. And AI doesn't have to be scary. It's actually not something that requires a re-platform. It doesn't require a huge expense, but it does require the courage to try something different and to experiment on your site. And today you can take AI and point it at your existing site. You can turn everything that's on your site into a rich data source. You can use AI to really observe and interact with your customers and your visitors in new and interesting ways, and you can dynamically personalize that content on that site to each and every visitor, and you can use AI to help you optimize and to analyze what's happening. And you can do that at scale, and you can do that today. And a couple of examples and a couple of use cases from our customer base. Here's Timex, and so they had the courage to really think about a different experience that they wanted to curate for their customers, beginning on social and eventually landing onto a very engaging experience where they brought in educational content, where they brought in branded content, where they brought in different storytelling to create a really rich experience, all the while kind of keeping that visitor in a personalized and dynamic and smooth scroll experience. And happy to say that drove higher conversion rates, and happy to say that drove a very successful campaign for them. Here's another example from our customer base. This is Sur La Table. They also were bold enough to take a different approach with their site. In their case, they run a variety of different campaigns across a variety of different catalogs and product categories. And in this case, they're running a spring campaign, and they wanted to bring in rich storytelling, video, educational content, and they wanted to layer it on top of the storytelling for that category, on top of their PLP. And they were able to do that, and through that, and keeping that visitor really engaged across a variety of different products, it drove a very high conversion rate for them, close to 2x additional conversion to sales for them. So keeping that visitor with fewer clicks, keeping that customer engaged across their storytelling drove a very successful campaign for them. And they're now starting to kind of take this across the rest of their site, and it was hugely successful for them. And it can be hugely successful for you too. So I encourage you to swing by, talk to our team. We're at booth 215. We're offering a free 30-day trial for everybody here today. Thanks for your time.
All right, so my name is Simon. I'm the product guy at Coveo. We do search and product discovery. I'm here to talk about the future of search. And fortunately for me, lots of content were introduced by the first two speakers. So I'll jump right into it. What is driving right now the transition, or at least the need for search to evolve? Well, the Gen AI. That's pretty much it. There's one word, Gen AI, and more likely, shopping assistant. With the big boy here, Rufus at Amazon, which has, Amazon has pretty big plan around what they want to do with Rufus. But so far, it's been underwhelming. The overall response towards shopping assistant in the case of Amazon is pretty underwhelming, both for sellers and buyers. And it leads us to the end of this presentation saying, it doesn't work, so let's just go back to search. But that would be too easy. So, as a product person, I'm thinking, is it really a technology issue? Is it really that we don't know how to integrate properly generative AI inside of that conversion funnel that was introduced before? But I believe it's more of a UX issue, and this is one example of multiple reviews from NNG, which are doing just UX classes and whatnot. And they say that one of the biggest issue with the shopping assistant is Rufus is that it was hard to find, just feels a little bit awkward. But even when they actually found it, the forced conversation was unnecessary, wordy, and jargon-filled. So it was mostly, forcing a conversation while the only thing that we want is actually to discover product and get to product as fast as possible. On the other hand, however, it felt a common sense place to put Rufus on product detail pages, a bit like Taggstar mentioned, because it's part of that conversion funnel that we're all used to. Like any other elements such as a search box, product recommendation, listing pages, checkout, these are elements that are fast, that are efficient, and that are proven to convert. So we're kind of bringing back the idea that, if we are to leverage generative AI properly into this conversion funnel, the search box needs to change. And instead of creating a kind of sideway through a chat or shopping assistant, we'll instead invest, into the search box and using Gen AI in it properly. So we're kind of introducing the concept of an intent box, which can respond to just precise query for product, which will return, the expected using hybrid semantic search, lexical search, one-to-one personalization will return the product and facets that you're expecting. And then Gen AI to kind of come in after the fact to offer forms of refinement and ways for you to converse then with the results without necessarily being forced a conversation prior to your search. On the other hand, however, if you go for a longer query which surface an intent of education, then you're being shown kind of Gen AI, more traditional step-by-step content, using rich content as well, such as recipe in this case. So using a unified search index, which are available with most modern search. But at the same time, using semantic search, tying content with products so that you can pursue the journey from education to discovery and conversion. So this is, it's not just Gen AI, it's a combination of technology that have been part of search engine for now decades, which are coming out together to provide a generative experience, a more richer, more informative experience, while still being fast, precise, and optimized for conversion. And this is an example in B2B, live actually at abb.com, so it's not just for retail. So the goal of the intent box is, not to force conversational, but instead, focus on conversion, not to force any sorts of, chatbot or anything like that, but instead focus on overall discovery, and not necessarily forcing a shopping assistant concept, instead an AI-driven buying journey. And on this, we're at booth 303. You can scan this if you want a prize. I don't remember what it is. My name is Simon. I'm from Coveo. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Chase Edwards, VP of Sales at AB Tasty. I've been with AB Tasty about 4 years. We focus on helping customers improve their user experience through testing and personalization. It's a pleasure to be here. Today I'll be talking about, there's a double up, how to use AI to delight your customers. Now, there's been no shortage of AI sessions in the last 2 days. Generally speaking, there's been 2 buckets of focus in those 2 sessions. The first is being efficient in your day. How do you introduce AI to remove administrative tasks? How do you get more done throughout your day? And the other is, how do you improve user experience? We're going to focus on the latter, and specifically with personalization. But why? Glad you asked. We'll show a headshot here. I doubt there's anyone in here who knows who this is. If you do, prove it to me after. But since it's an AI session, it's important to point out this is not an AI-generated photo of businessman smiling in a suit. This is actually Gerald Zaltman. Gerald Zaltman is an American psychologist. He's written over 20 books, and he's a Harvard professor. And what Gerald points out is that the customer journey is made up a sum of micro decisions, and specifically 80% of decision making is based on emotions. And so at AB Tasty, we wanted to echo his research, and so earlier this year we ran a consumer trends report. We polled over 1,000 of our own customers and asked them individually what type of shopper they are. Now you can see the results here on the screen, and maybe no surprise, everyone shops a little bit differently in this room as well as online. I don't have time to get into the details, but if you take out your phone and want to scan this QR code, you can get a full breakdown of the audience segmentation. This will also give you the average respective traffic online for the 10 segments we've identified, and some ideas and insights that you can take right into practice for personalizing to these emotions. Because everyone shops differently, the challenge for e-commerce sites is, how do I market to so many different types of customers? There's so many options, and sometimes that volume of option can lead to inaction. And when we think about traditional personalization, we'll break it down into a more tangible example. We'll use a prospect or a customer named James in this case. Most people in the room today are personalizing to James with loyalty information, device type, maybe geography, all of the segmentations that you have handy from your CDP or your analytics. And on the right side is an introduction for an emotional segmentation that AI can introduce. And we think it's a more sophisticated way to provide and approach personalization in one-to-one scale. So if we stay with James and think about his emotion, he has a need for safety. And so what James needs to see to have a great user experience is very different than a different customer. As an example, we want to avoid any sort of pressure marketing to James. So flash sales or act now, there's only one item left, do not resonate with someone who needs safety. And instead, you should emphasize maybe data privacy, payment checkouts, things like that. Now, James represents one of 10 emotional segmentations that AB Tasty can identify in less than 30 seconds on your website, and then show you how to personalize to each 10 and how to create a better user experience. And we think with Emotions AI, this is what true personalization looks like. Appreciate the time, and if this has been interesting, find me and possibly James on your site. Look forward to talking to you. Thank you.